The second assignment for computer animation, and you're going to go ahead and open a new document and go ahead and start by creating a second layer. This animation is going to have two layers, just like our first animation with the stickman, and in this one we are going to actually make the first layer the ground again, just like we did in the first, and on layer 2 we are going to make this a tree. And what we're going to do in this animation is we're going to make a tree grow from a seed. And so on this first layer of the ground, we'll start by maybe taking a color of green and taking your brush and making a kind of a ground layer there. And I'm going to lock that layer so we don't draw on it anymore, but what we will do is add more keyframes. So I'm just selecting this first keyframe, and or more frames, sorry, not keyframes, but so that this ground line is going to be around for 50 frames. That should do that. Now, or you could also go to Insert, Timeline, and Frame, but F5 on your keyboard will make things a little bit quicker. Now I'll go to my color picker again and take a brownish color, and I'm going to start by drawing kind of the tree roots down at the bottom of the ground here. So this looks pretty good. Maybe make it just a slight bit wider. Alright, so that is going to work for that. Then what I'm going to do on this layer also is I'm going to add more frames. So I'm going to add about 50 frames, and we may not need that many, but that should do for now. And what I'm going to do is go to the next frame by pressing F6. So F6 is going to actually leave the part of the tree that I've already drawn in the last frame. Unlike our stickman animation, we were clicking F7 in order to see where our stickman was before, but this time we won't really need that. We actually want to see the results before, because we want the animation that we drew before to still be present on your stage. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep pressing F6 and then drawing the tree up a little bit higher, and then F6, and then I'm going to draw the tree up a little bit higher and maybe make it start to split into two branches here, maybe even a third one. Alright, and then I'm going to press F6 again, and I'm going to extend these branches up a little bit more, and F6, and I'm going to extend these branches a little bit more, and just break them off into little sections like Ys, letter Ys, maybe making them break into more than 2. They could break into 3 as well. And just want to keep making each branch grow a little bit by little bit. And then I'll preview this in a second so that you can see what we have so far. Let's get to maybe 15 frames. And then, alright, so let's preview this so you can see the tree is starting from the bottom and then growing. So we could keep adding more to this tree. Like I was saying, make sure you're here on that latest keyframe. Draw the brush a little bit further and then press F6. So F6 is going to lead you to the next frame and still leave behind what is already on the frame before it. So going up, pressing F6, making the branches a little bit longer. And right now this is a very wintry tree, looking a lot like the ones that are outside now, but I think what I'll do is fill this tree out a bit and add some sprouts to it. I'll just make this branch a little bit longer, and then on the next frame I'm going to change my color, go with kind of a lime greenish color to make some buds, and then I'm going to create a new frame and then just draw a few new pieces on each frame. So we're just going to have some little tree kind of buds growing out here. Again, making a couple clicks, 2 or 3, and then pressing F6. And again, just a very simple animation, just still trying to get familiar with the workspace and making frame-by-frame animations before we get anything too much more complicated. So approaching 50 frames here. I'll go ahead and preview this again so you can see what we've got. And there we go. So the tree kind of fills out, and then you have more spring buds kind of coming out, which is hopefully what's going to start happening with the trees outside soon. I think I will actually add to my ground layer. I'm going to go ahead and click on this first layer, and you can see when I go back here, you can scrub through and see, each step frame by frame. I'm going to add a little bit to my ground layer and fill it in green. So in order to get that same green color without having to go through my color picker, I'm going to use my eyedropper tool and then switch to my brush tool and go ahead and just make this kind of boxed in. And on this layer then, I'll go ahead and take my fill bucket, maybe choose a different color green. Oops, I didn't want to do that. I want to take the fill bucket and then fill it with a different green. And I can lock that again just to see that. And let's preview one more time. So there you go. You get a simple tree animation, kind of tree growing branches and sprouting some little spring buds. So go ahead and get started with your own, and hopefully you have fun and don't have any troubles. So be creative.